For most of human history, the world was never meant to connect. Vast deserts, towering mountains, endless oceans. Civilizations grew apart from each other, separated by distance, danger, and silence. People lived their entire lives without knowing what existed beyond the horizon. And yet, long before airplanes, long before ships crossed oceans, long before the internet, the world was already connected by a path that should not have existed. Imagine trying to travel across continents with no maps, no engines, no protection. Only sand beneath your feet, only mountains blocking your way, only uncertainty ahead. Between east and west stood some of the most unforgiving geography on Earth. The Taklamakan Desert, the Pamir Mountains, frozen passes, scorching heat. These were not roads, they were barriers. And yet, humans attempted to cross them anyway. Not once, not twice, but for centuries. There was no single road, no clear beginning, no clear end. What we call the Silk Road was actually a web of paths stretching thousands of kilometers across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. Traders moved slowly. Caravans advanced step by step. Cities became lifelines in a sea of emptiness. Every journey carried risk, bandits, storms, starvation. Most never completed the entire route, but that didn't matter because something else was happening. Goods began to move from hand to hand, from culture to culture, and the world started to change. Silk made the route famous. Light, rare, valued like gold. But silk was only the beginning. Along these paths traveled spices, precious metals, glass, paper, and more importantly, ideas. Religions spread across continents, languages mixed, art styles blended. Mathematics moved west, astronomy moved east, medicine crossed borders. Even diseases traveled these routes, reshaping populations forever. The Silk Road didn't just move products, it moved knowledge, and knowledge is power. Cities along the route began to flourish. Markets expanded. Cultures merged. New identities formed. People who had never met began influencing each other's lives. A decision in China could affect a city in the Mediterranean. For the first time in history, the world began to feel smaller, connected, not by conquest alone, but by exchange. This was globalization before the word ever existed. But the world never stays the same. Ships grew stronger, navigation improved, oceans became highways. Sea routes were faster, cheaper, safer. Slowly, the caravans stopped coming. Cities that once thrived fell silent. The Silk Road faded. Not because it failed, but because the world found a new way to connect. Today, information moves instantly. Goods cross oceans overnight. Ideas spread in seconds. We call this a connected world, but it isn't new. Centuries ago, on dusty paths through deserts and mountains, humans proved something powerful. That distance could be crossed, that cultures could meet, that the world could be shared. Before the internet, before airplanes, before modern nations, there was the Silk Road, and it quietly built the first global world.